Oh, I'm sorry. I think my audio was completely. I must have turned it off. I am so sorry to all the fans out there. I'll explain when the race goes on. So we are here at the Circuit Villiers-Villeneuve, at the Canadian Grand Prix, 1996 to the present day, and it's a very interesting circuit. Looks like I was talking a lot, and I just realized that my microphone was off, so I'm deeply sorry about that. But we are here at the Canadian Grand Prix, and we have a lot of history in this track. Jenson Button made that 6 pit stops to overtake Sebastian Vettel on the final lap of the race for the win. And then in 1999 with the Wall of Champions, Michael Schumacher, Damon Hill, Jacques Villeneuve, all crashed out at the final corner. So it's very interesting to see that. Real quick, I am in a Williams. I will not be doing that. I will be retiring, so I'll just wait until the race starts. But the race will get underway, and we're going to see how this goes. So this is going to be very interesting to see who gets off the front line. It's going to be very interesting. Intent starting on the medium tires, so it's going to be pretty cool to see where he can start from. Let's retire from this. No, we can't. We can't yet. So anyways, let's talk about strategy real quick. Strategy for around here has got to be the softs, and then to the medium tires to end off the stint at the end of this. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the drivers have to do. I think there's 4 drivers in here that have started on the medium tires. They'll be going for a different type of strategy, and I've just been disqualified, so that's okay. So interesting to see that. So Jeff's interrupting me yet again, so a lot of interruptions from Jeff and other things. So anyways, the strategy, yeah, for around here, it's got to be the softs. Then move to the softs, then go to the mediums for the very end of the race. So hopefully we can see that from these drivers today, the 2-stop strategy. But there will be those 4 drivers that I did mention. They will be going on a totally different strategy of possibly going for that 1-stop strategy from the mediums, probably to the hards. But let's not count out the safety car, because that can happen around here. We've seen it many times, as in 2011 when Jenson Button had the phenomenal 6 pit stop strategy, which I did already mention, but I'm pointing out here that the safety car did come out multiple times because of that wet weather and also those crashes that happened earlier. Let's talk about a few things that have happened during this track. The history of this track is incredible. The Circuit Villiers-Villeneuve. Robert Kubica's crash in 2007. Fantastic crash. I think he almost hit Antonio Luizzi. I think that he was in the Toro Rosso at that time, but Kubica, he crashed into, I think that was the hairpin. I'm not exactly sure what corner name that is. I have apologies for that. So anyways, Kubica had that massive crash, which is a lot of history to his name from that. But a year later, at this very track, he did take his only win of the season and his only win of his entire career with BMW Sauber at that point. Just real quick point out, that was one of my favorite cars of the time. So we're about to go green as the grid forms up. I am in a Williams, so we're going to have a very interesting start to this. I will retire immediately, and then we can see what the drivers have to do at the start. So 5 red lights are out, and away we go for the Canadian Grand Prix. And let's see, let's real quick retire from this. Let's see, it looks like Intent had a great start. It looks like, let's see here, we're going side by side. Greg Jennings has got, and Solrak's been pushed off the track. He's down to 8th position. Looks like the Toro Rosso and the McLaren Aperture and Relish going side by side, but it looks like Relish has got the move. It looks like the Racing Point driver of T-Bone, it's his home Grand Prix here today. Can he improve from his position at the moment? He's in 8th position at the moment. Dunk Daddy in the Red Bull looks to get a move on T-Bone. I'm not sure where that ended up. It looks like the Ferrari Solak has recovered from his damage at the start and is ahead of the Red Bull car. So not a lot of, a very clean start by most of these drivers here. One of the Ferraris, looks like Solak is possibly making a move on T-Bone, maybe going to send it down the inside. Looks like the Red Bull of Daddy is actually going to make the move, and he does make the move. Well done to the Red Bull driver. Looks like the 2 Toro Rossos are fighting just ahead. Ice and Relish going side by side. Please don't crash into each other. The golden #1 rule is to not crash into your teammate, but it looks like that Ice just keeps that position behind. Further behind, we have Solak and King Ducky possibly making a move here. It looks like Fireball and the Haas is going to make a move on King Ducky. They're going side by side through turn 1. So we've had a very clean start to this Grand Prix. Intent leads the way from Greg Jennings, hard as cotton, in 3rd position. So it's a Mercedes 1-2 of this race. So very interesting to see that. And I mean, that's happened quite a lot in the other races that we've seen from the actual race in F1. Mercedes dominated the 2019 season with, I think it was 7 consecutive 1-2s in a row. I think it was actually 6. My corrections are wrong because Vettel got a podium in Monaco. He got 2nd because Bottas had that penalty. Anyways, we move on to the on-track battles. Looks like there's some moves going on between King Ducky, Solrak, and Fireball, getting very close together. Not sure if they're going to make a move. DRS is not activated. It will be activated on lap 3. But it looks like actually the 2 Toro Rossos might be going side by side once again. But Ice just keeps that position. Relish just a little too far back to make a move. It looks like Mel and Skilly are making a move at the moment. The Renault of Ham is going to make a move on Mel, and he gets the job done. It looks like he might be going for a move on the Red Bull of Skilly, just a little too far back to make that move as we come into turn 1 with these incredible drivers. A lot of drivers very close together, so interesting to see this. But it's going to be very interesting. Though it already looks like that the Red Bull of Dunk Daddy may have gone off the track, and he had... Oh, and he makes him contact with the Ferrari, sent it down the inside of Solrak, and it didn't look like it paid out for him. But it looks like the Haas of Fireball is going to get a move on Dunk Daddy, and there's actually some... Oh, and it looks like Ice... Oh, dear goodness, the Toro Rosso of Ice has made some contact. I'm not sure who that was. He went down the field. He was like, I think he was 5th position. Now he's down to 15th, so losing 10 positions. That Toro Rosso driver is very far behind from the pack. So, interesting to see what that has. Maybe the stewards can take a look and see if they can do anything else from that. And it looks like there's a move already going on in Skilly and Fireball. Skilly gets the move done. Solak and King Ducky possibly going side by side as you see the arrows being moved up, and we see some more arrows being moved up with T-Bone and Apertures go side by side into turn 1. T-Bone gets the move done. Aperture just a little close to T-Bone, but T-Bone gets the move done, and he's up into 6th position. So at the moment, it is a 4-6 for Racing Point, so very good to see them in those top positions. And Solrock getting really close to Aperture. He's actually made the move. Oh, and there's a little bit of contact with both the drivers, but they get it through clean. Solak goes a little off track and barely hits the wall there, but he has got the move done, and Solak is up into 7th. Yellow flag, sector 2. Not sure who that was. Maybe Ice? Looks like he's moving down the table. Looks like he may have some damage. Oh, and it looks like it's Dunk Daddy in the Red Bull. Looks like he had some contact before because he went off the circuit about a lap ago. Earlier this lap, I think. And he's down to 14th. Not sure who he made contact with, but we are good at the moment. So not a lot of whole on-track battles at the moment. Looks like King Ducky and Aperture in the 2nd McLaren might be making a move on Solrak. So close to him as he comes through the wall of champions. These two drivers, the McLaren and the Ferrari, the two championship rivals that were in through the first half of the year. Oh, and actually Aperture makes some contact. He's made contact with his teammate King Ducky. Aperture just went wide a little bit. It looks like King Ducky makes a move, and it looks like they're going 3 wide. The 3 drivers are Ham, King Ducky, and it looks like a Fireball. And actually, King Ducky's been spun around, and he's into the wall. Oh, and that's very hard for the McLaren driver. He's had so much bad luck at the start of this lap. So very hard to see that, but he's up into 13th. Recovering from that. It looks like the Renault of Isesco's actually got past the McLaren. So we are good, but as we continue into this race, now actually looks like there's a move possibly going with Relish and Kevwood. Very close together, these two drivers, the Toro Rosso and the Racing Point. Very interesting colors, both of them. If you combine the Toro Rosso and the Racing Point, we'll probably get an incredible color of a blue and a pink. But Relish gets the move done into the final 2 corners of this race. It looks like T-Bone, Kevwood's teammate, has got a great run at his teammate. They are going possibly side by side. T-Bone maybe going for the outside line of Kevwood. Kevwood dips it down into the curve, but T-Bone just a little too wide on that exit of turn 2. But he's got the move done, so well done. I mean, the racing... Oh, and actually Kevwood has just done a little bit of what Vettel did in 2019. T-Bone's all over the back of the Racing Point drivers. Kind of reminds me of in 2017 when we had Ocon and Perez making some moves on each other. Hopefully there's nothing like that. The two drivers that both have the number of 24, so it's hard to see which one is which, but we can tell from the screen to the left of us as T-Bone goes a little off circuit to maybe get a little bit of an advantage on Kevwood. And I'm not sure, T-Bone, it looks like he's actually going to send it down the inside. Made a little bit of contact, but he's going, he did it. T-Bone's got the move, well done. So Intent's got a very big gap to his teammate, Greg. He's got a 3.1 second gap, 3.2 second gap now to the Mercedes driver. So both of them are stretching the gap to the rest of the pack. Hardest Cotton in third position for the Haas team is in third. He's kind of keeping that pace, waiting for maybe the two Mercedes to make some mistakes or something like that. But Hardest Cotton, he's third at the moment, and he's doing good. And actually, looks like Kevwood's actually losing a lot of positions. Maybe he got spun. Wasn't sure exactly what happened, but he went from like 6th, battling his teammate T-Bone, down to 11th position. So maybe making his some contact with his teammate. Hopefully not. That's not what we want. But he is, unfortunately, he's down to 11th. Hopefully he can make some recovery. We're only 7 laps into this Grand Prix, so we got quite some time to go until we see a lot of position changes and stuff like that. Mel and Fireball, looks like they're making some moves. Mel did get past Fireball. There's a lot of drivers getting involved here. 4 drivers at the moment. Look at that. A lot of drivers going down into the DRS straight of turn 14. Hopefully they'll make some moves. And look at this. A lot of battling going on. 3 cars possibly going for the move. Looks like the Alpha and the McLaren have made a move on the Renault because the Renault didn't have DRS. And it looks like Mel has got the move on Aperture. And it looks like we've had some pit stops going on here because Relish into the pits and Hardest Cotton into the pits. So the top 5 drivers are into the pits. So very interesting to see that. And it looks like Relish is on the medium tires, so possibly going for that 2-stop strategy. Hardest Cotton also on the medium tires, possibly going for that 2-stop strategy. Solrak and the Ferrari on the softs, it looks like, because he's past his pit box. But Solrak on the softs, so possibly going for that 2-stop strategy, as well as I mentioned earlier in this race, where you go from the soft to the mediums. Looks like there's a yellow flag. Not sure who that was. Oh, it looks like Aperture, and he's going slow. He's spun around. It looks like he's in the grass. He's got the car back on track, but something happened there. I'm sorry, folks, that I didn't catch that, but Aperture down to 11th position. This track is very hard to overtake in Sector 2 and most of Sector 2, actually. It's very hard to make a clean overtake because the corners are so interesting and they're so perfect as they're coming around the corner, only like meant for hot laps. But you can overtake around here, but sometimes it gets to the point where some drivers spin out. As we have some pit stops coming in. Kevwood into the pits, Greg Jennings into the pits. So it looks like he's on the medium tires. What tires does Kevwood go on to? Looks like mediums as well. And that's going to be very interesting to see forward. Most of these drivers are going possibly for that 2-stop strategy, maybe waiting for that safety car. I'm not sure exactly what the strategy is around here, but we'll have to wait and see. As Kevwood exits the pits as a Sasko, I think he will come ahead of a Sasko because the Sasko was coming into turn 1. Kevwood was just exiting into turn 2. So at the moment, Kevwood is ahead. He actually does a little bit of what Vettel did, but he is good. He is good. A little battle going on here between Dunk Daddy, Hardest Cotton, and Greg Jennings. Hardest Cotton and Greg Jennings are both on the faster tires, so they will probably be getting Dunk Daddy quite soon. Fireball is on the soft tires, so they'll be hunting them down. As Hardest Cotton's already making a move on Dunk Daddy. Hardest Cotton's got just so much more pace, and the Mercedes of Greg Jennings has also got a lot more pace. And I actually didn't catch this, but Hardest Cotton has jumped Greg Jennings, so It's a provisional that the Hardest Cotton has jumped the 2 Mercedes, so provisional second place for Hardest Cotton at the moment. So that means he split the 1-2 that the Mercedes were carrying, and Hardest Cotton gets a little bit of a switchback on Dunk Daddy, because it looks like Dunk Daddy did get that move with probably the DRS, and actually Hardest Cotton might be going for side-by-side movement. Dunk Daddy a little bit cuts him off, fair enough, and Hardest Cotton was thinking about making a move, but there was not enough space for him to make that move. He's going to send it down the inside of turn 6, that is. I think turn 6, turn 7. I'm sorry, I do not have the list. Like I said, this was kind of unexpected. Thought I would just do it real quick, and so I didn't really come up with a script or anything like that. Anyways, we got Hardest Cotton. Oh, and Dunk Daddy's been spun. Oh, and the Red Bull. The second spin for him today is down to 8th position. So that's very hard to see from the Red Bull. I hope everything is fine. I'm not sure exactly what happened. It looked like Hardest Cotton and Dunk Daddy made some contact just going through that corner. Like I said, it's very hard to overtake during Sector 2, as that was Sector 2. Very hard to overtake, but Hardest Cotton up to 5th position, Dunk Daddy down to 8th. So Dunk Daddy still in the points. The race is not over. We're only 11 laps in as Dunk Daddy actually sends it into the pit lane, not braking, just going straight into it. I mean, what can you do, I guess? I mean, it's up to him if he comes in for a set of hard tires, which is very interesting, and a new front wing. So hard tires, maybe Dunk Daddy is going to the end of the race. That's what I'm thinking. He's going to the end of the race, and he's going to go on those hard tires. So we're just going to have to wait and see how that goes. So at the moment, Intent leads from T-Bone. Oh, and actually Greg Jennings and Fireball were going side by side. It looks like Greg Jennings has got the move. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Intent is leading of 15.662 gap to T-Bone in the Racing Point. And T-Bone is down in 2nd position. He is 1 lap newer tires than Intent, because Intent has started the 11 lap mark. So very interesting to see this. These two drivers started on the medium, so they'll be going for quite a lot of laps now. So we're just going to have to see Mel in 3rd position. He started from the very back of the grid, joined during qualifying, didn't qualify at all, and he's up to 3rd position. I mean, honestly, if he stays here, he's got to have my driver of the day. I mean, softs with 11 laps, and he's in 3rd position from the back of the grid. Very impressive from the Alfa Romeo driver of Mel. So he's going to have to pit, though. I mean, those tires are going to wear a lot faster than the medium tires, and Hardest Cotton is already catching Mel. So we're just going to have to see how this goes. I'm expecting Mel to probably go to the hards, because the hard tires, as we've seen from, who was that, Dunk Daddy, I think Dunk Daddy pit for the hards. He's thinking of a one-stop strategy. So, I mean, why not for Mel to go on to the hard tires and go for a one-stop strategy? Looks like Hardest Cotton has gained a lot of time on Mel. That's normal. I mean, he's got a lot newer tires, only 4 laps used tires. Mel's got 11 laps of old tires. As the leader comes into the pits, Intent into the pits with a new set of soft tires. So that's a very interesting strategy call from Intent. And the 2nd place man of T-Bone is also into the pits. And it looks like he's also going on to... Let's see what tires he's going to go. Hards, it looks like. He's going on to the hard tire. So probably going for that one-stop strategy I just mentioned. So very interesting to see. And he gets a little bit of a hell of a time by Mel. And Mel actually is sitting in the pit lane right now, possibly for a 5-second penalty or something like that. Some sort of penalty. As Mel's also going on the soft tires. So very interesting to see this. Mel and Intent looks like they pit for the soft tires. They'll be going for that 2-stop strategy that we were thinking of, from probably the softs to softs, then the mediums, to the end of the race, maybe waiting for a safety car. But T-Bone, he's gone for the one-stop strategy of going to the hards. That's what my prediction is, but you never know. But if he can last those tires to the end of the race, he's in a fair chance of fighting Intent for the lead of the race and possibly the win. Wouldn't that be great to see T-Bone winning this Grand Prix, winning his home Grand Prix, and winning technically Racing Point's home Grand Prix, because Racing Point is owned by Lawrence Stroll, father of Lance Stroll, the racing driver for Racing Point at the moment. But Lawrence Stroll owns the team. He's Canadian. He has a lot of sponsorships. I think the team of Racing Point is based in the UK, Silverstone to be exact. but Silverstone track. But T-Bone and his Racing Point team, hopefully they can get a win. I guess it's considered that Racing Point, it is Canadian, it's English, either way. Anyway, T-Bone, that'd be nice to see him on the podium. At least a podium, maybe a win. You never know. Looks like Solrak is possibly making a move on Fireball at the moment. Solrak possibly going around the outside of the Haas driver. And they're still side-by-side. So very impressive driving by the two drivers. Looks like Fireball got a greater exit out of that corner because Solrak was just in the inside line, so there was no chance for him to get a better exit off of that corner. Fireball just had the advantage there on getting that better exit. But Fireball up to 7th, back up to 7th. And that's interesting to see how that goes. It's gonna be very interesting to see how that goes. And Mel actually in 9th position. He's picked for the soft tires. He's gonna be possibly in this battle as well, because look how far he is behind. The gap is only 8/10 to the Ferrari Solrak. So this is gonna be a very interesting time to find this. We just have to wait and see. We're going to take a quick commercial break as the laps have kind of rounded out. We'll be back in less than a minute for the race to continue. Welcome back to the live broadcast of the Canadian Grand Prix, the 9 p.m. league that we have right here. Intent still leads the way in his Mercedes car. Hardest Cotton is in 2nd position with Greg Jennings in 3rd. It's been a very entertaining race so far. I can't wait to see what happens for the rest of the race. Well, we took our commercial break. Not much really happened for a lot of the drivers, just really calming down those tires and just bringing the tires in temp to get ready to full attack at the end of this stint of the tires. The tires have, all the drivers out here are probably keeping the tires cool by just going kind of a little slower and releasing off the brake a little bit more, trying not to hit those curbs. So at the moment, we are seeing Hardest Cotton at the moment. He's in second position at the moment. Intent still leads the way with a 10.145 gap to Hard as Cotton. Intent on the he's only 5 laps in on those soft tires, so possibly taking for a 2-stop strategy. And the safety car has been brought out. Very interesting. It looks like Ice is out of the Grand Prix. So wasn't sure what happened with Ice. It looks like he was kind of far down the grid. Was it maybe just way too far down the grid and wasn't able to continue on, so just decided to retire the car. As the leader, Intent comes into the pits for those medium tires, for those 2-stop strategy that I said he probably would do. It looks like most of the drivers are coming in for their new tires. Very interesting to see. Greg Jennings and Hardest Cotton only 9 laps in to their tires, coming back onto another set of medium tires. So a lot of I bet you actually every single driver will pit. As Kevin comes into the pits, and let's see, T-Bone, he's staying out. So yeah, he probably it looks like he was probably gonna come in to the pits, and he saw that his teammate did, so he probably just stayed out. As well with Skilly. Skilly is staying out, but he's on the 9. He's only 9 laps in on the hard tire, so he should be good for the rest of the race. Same with T-Bone. T-Bone's only 6 laps into his hard tire, so he should be able to continue this strategy. But this might actually help out T-Bone in a way. But this also might help out Intent, Hardest Cotton. So it's kind of both ways you would put it. So very interesting to see the safety car is out. And we're just going to have to wait and see what happens as the grid kind of forms up to reduce their pace and wait for all the debris or any trouble, or maybe Ice's car had broken down or something like that. And I mean, like in the real F1, sometimes the car would either crash or they would just stop on track. And so you didn't want like cars just driving around and hitting those cars, because that's endangering the driver, endangering the car, and costing a lot of money. So the safety car is out for that reason. We could probably go into detail for probably about 15 minutes on why the safety car is here, but for safety reasons, it's called the safety car for that reason. So waiting as the drivers come around and back up into the safety car as they start warming their tires. It's best to warm the tires because then you won't have them cold for the rest of the race, because if you have the tires cold, you'll have no grip at all. Just at all. I mean, I've had lots of situations where I've not heated my tires up, especially with the hard tires, where they don't have a lot of grip. And yeah, so I had a lot of experience with not warming the tires properly and getting very hard grip and spinning once or twice. So that can happen, but we are hopefully, we're seeing all these drivers warming the tires, so they're definitely doing the job of keeping those tires warm and ready for the safety car restart. So the safety car should last 2 laps. It usually does. I mean, there's been times when the safety car, the virtual safety car, of course. I mean, that actually is a virtual safety car, but this type of safety car in this virtual race is supposed to stay out for 2 laps, but it has happened where there's been over 2 laps. 3 or 4 can happen. It's very rare, but I'm expecting the safety car to come out for 2 laps. So hopefully we don't get another one, because that's not what we want. Some of the drivers do like it because then they can catch the pack and regroup and think like, okay, the race is not over for me. So safety car really brings that for the drivers to get together, but it's also, it stops the race and it helps, and we don't want any incidents with any driver. So that's why we actually do not want the safety car, but it tends to happen. It just does. These F1 cars are very unpredictable at sometimes. Like, you can put it down on the power and it just may spin and crash you out. So, I mean, and the safety car, usually on this game, there's only allowed 2 safety cars. But I've been in a few Grand Prix where there's been like 4 there's been 4. I mean, like, that was pretty incredible, and we were all like, why is there 4 safety cars? I thought there was only 2. That's the rules. But sometimes that can happen. Hopefully we don't have that Jensen Button thing where we had, I think, 3 safety cars? I can't remember exactly, but here we are with this one right now. We're focusing on the moment, not looking to the future or the past. So we're just waiting as the cars line up. And let's actually focus on Intent as he basically is leading the pack. Safety car should be going in this lap because the safety car has been out for officially 2 laps. He should be coming in, and Intent will back up the pack, and he'll become the provisional safety car of the grid until the line, and he can choose the pace of the cars behind. He effectively becomes the safety car when the safety car comes in. So when he gets to that line, Intent will be able to accelerate and get a good start and get the cars in a good start as well. So we're just going to have to see what happens. And the race control has announced that the safety car will be coming in this lap. So it's like we are about to go. So Intent will be doing exactly what I just said, backing up the pack, trying to get everyone's tires in cool, trying to get everyone bunched up together, and then hopefully he gets a great start and leads the pack away as we get to the start finish straight. And it looks like there's actually some moving going on. They will have to get the pack done because Mel has moved up ahead of Solak, same with the Sasko and King Ducky. But it looks like Intent has already got the pack away. He's got a great start. Hardest Cotton also got a great start, though. Hardest Cotton very close. It looks like there is some contact because there was a yellow flag for a second. And not sure exactly what happened. It looks like T-Bone and Skilly are going side by side, making some moves on each other. And Skilly's got more worn tires than T-Bone, and T-Bone's teammate Kevwood on the medium tires did pit during the safety car, and he's on 3 laps old medium tires. There's a sector 1 yellow flag, not sure exactly what that was. Maybe some contact with some drivers or who knows what, but everything is okay at the moment. Intent leads. He's already got a 1.059 second gap to the car behind, which is Hardest Cotton, and Greg Jennings is 0.692 seconds behind Hardest Cotton. So those two will be going for it. Hopefully they'll be making some moves. And it looks like T-Bone and Skilly and Kevwood are making some moves. Kevwood has moved past his teammate. A lot of moves going on here. The Renault of Ham is already getting involved. The Haas of Fireball also getting involved. T-Bone down some places. Fireball and Ham making some moves. And the McLaren of Aperture, it looks like he's making some moves as well. The Alfa Romeo of Mel is also making moves. Sector 3 yellow flag, but we can't stop looking for this. This is incredible. It looks like they're going 3 wide, possibly, into that sector. 3-second time penalty goes to the 3rd place driver of Greg Jennings, but we are all good. And there is a Sector 1 yellow flag. Not sure exactly what that was for, but it looks like we are all good. So what a titanic battle that was. I was on the edge of my seat, hoping, praying that there's no crash that was going to happen, and we didn't get one. So fair play to every single one of these drivers. T-Bone did kind of lose out to that battle, though. He's in 10th position, but all the drivers ahead are on fresher tires, because T-Bone's going to probably go to the end of this race, but all these drivers are possibly going to go to the end of this race, so I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do. As King Ducky enters the pits, let's see if we can get a good on board of him. Looks like he's already exited the pits. I'm not sure exactly what tires he was on, but now he's on the medium tires. It looks like Aperture and T-Bone are going side by side because T-Bone's back up to 10th. Aperture, he doesn't have the DRS because only it goes out at lap 3. It looks like Mel and Fireball are going side by side through turn 14 and turn 15. Mel cuts the corner a little bit, but that was fair play. And it looks like Fireball, could he make a move? Doesn't look like it. Maybe into the inside line is just a little too far back. And actually, Mel goes a little bit wide, and Fireball's got the move done. Fair play, that was well done, but Mel actually comes back at him. But Fireball's just got a better exit off of that corner, and Fireball gets the move done. So the Haas and the Alpha driver, both with Ferrari power at the back of their cars, have switched positions, and Fireball up to 8th, Mel down to 9th. So we're seeing T-Bone with the DRS, because it looks like the DRS has been enabled. The McLaren and the Ferrari right behind him are just closing in. Actually, T-Bone's closing in on Mel and the Alfa Romeo. So as we get a lovely camera angle, and actually T-Bone looks like he locked up and went a little wide. It looks like Aperture's actually got the move possibly on T-Bone, but T-Bone comes back at him, and he's got the move back up. But I think Aperture will probably get that DRS. He has got the DRS, but T-Bone's also got the DRS because Mel is within 1 second of T-Bone. So they can't really make a move. T-Bone did get a 3-second time penalty for that, so not exactly sure. Skilly enters the pit lane. Looks like he's kind of stopped, maybe for a penalty or something like that. Let's watch that. Yeah, and he's out onto the soft tires. So very interesting to see here. Maybe just couldn't last those hard to the very end. The only person at the moment that has, I mean, I guess he's worn sort of tires is T-Bone. I mean, he could last us to the very end, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. 6 laps older than most of the tires. The top 12, excluding T-Bone, are all on the exact same tire level. So they're all good at the moment. So this will be a very interesting fight between all these drivers. The McLaren of Aperture, as we're seeing as we ride on board with T-Bone. They're going side by side into the hairpins section as T-Bone goes off onto the grass a little bit. Aperture goes up into 9th position. Solrak might get a great slingshot on T-Bone. It looks like Greg Jennings and Hardest Cotton have swapped positions. It looks like Hardest Cotton is down to 3rd because, oh, and it looks like he was going to go for a move there, but Greg Jennings didn't leave him the space. Fair play. There was not really much room there. It looks like actually T-Bone's into the pits. So we cut off 2 Racing Point drivers. He's in the pit lane at the moment. Probably couldn't handle those hard tires to the very end. Maybe praying for some sort of virtual safety car or VSC. We'll see what happens. He's also in for some front wing change. So maybe he had some damage with some other car, and he had to change that. So it was probably the most likely situation. I think it probably was. He was on those hard tires, a lot less grip. So hopefully he can catch up to the cars ahead and make some move and possibly get some points in the bag for his home Grand Prix. Not a lot of action going on at the moment. Actually, we do have a little bit of action with Mel and Fireball at the moment. Mel's just a little too far back to make the move, but Mel, can he get up into 7th position? Because that would be a nice position for him to finish, especially where he came from the back of the grid. Oh, it looks like they made a little bit of contact. It looks like Mel and Fireball made a little bit of contact. Fireball is still ahead, though. Mel's probably going to have the DRS. He does get the DRS off the sector, and it looks like he's not going to get the slipstream from the Haas. Looks like he's probably just going to get a good exit off of this corner. It looks like, yep, he already has. He's got the DRS, possibly going for the move on Fireball. Not in the slipstream. I mean, he was in the slipstream now, but just a little too far back to make a move at the moment. Oh, and Solrak and Aperture are possibly going for a move. Solrak gets the move done, and he's up into 9th position, the Ferrari driver. Actually, we do have another Ferrari driver. He's down in 18th position. Hasn't really, I'm not exactly sure what happened there. Maybe he crashed to start. Didn't really see him during the race because I had to retire my Williams from the race because I was going to race, but then I decided to commentate. And what a privilege it has been for me to tell you guys at home what's going on and tell you guys maybe some of the people that are actually racing right now are hopefully watching the commentary that's going on right now. So thank you so much for watching. As we continue the on-track battles, Solrak is within, Aperture and Solrak are within a gap, less than a car length behind. Ooh, and Solrak gets a little bit of a take slapper off that corner, and the McLaren of Aperture is right behind the Ferrari driver. He's got to have DRS, Aperture, and he's going to go possibly for the move. Solrak covers the inside line, but he actually goes to the outside line. Can Aperture dive bomb it into the section of turn 15, the World Champions? No, he doesn't. Gets the DRS. I think he's just a little too far back to make the move on Solrak, though. So fair play to both these drivers. Did a well created move from all of them. And so Aperture's going to have to just stick behind us. Actually, Solrak gets a little bit on the grass, and Aperture is just right behind him. So this is going to be a very interesting battle going forward. The driver's right here, I'd say, for Aperture is to save the ERS. And for Solrak, I'd say maybe go to the medium, maybe the high setting, to, if he has the DRS available, to keep the defending going from Aperture, because Aperture's going to have that DRS. So we're going to have to see how this goes. No real battles going on at the moment between the other drivers. Actually, there is quite a lot of drivers right here that are kind of clustered together. The Racing Point driver of Kedwood and the Renault driver of Ham and the Haas and the Alfa Romeo, all possibly going for some moves. Oh, and it looks like Kedwood goes a little off the circuit. I'm not sure what happened there, but now the Renault's got an excellent pace, and he's got the move done. And actually, Kedwood goes off the circuit. I don't know what exactly if that was fair or not, but it happened. So Ham and actually the Haas, they're going to go 3 by 3, and actually Fireball gets the move done. He goes off the circuit though, and he's going to be off the circuit, and actually the Renault of Ham is going to get a great exit off that corner, and Ham in the Red Bull is past the Haas of Fireball. So Kedwood and Mel also closing in on this gap as well. So this is a very interesting battle between these drivers. Relish in 4th position, very lonely race at the moment. Hopefully he's going to catch that 5-second gap to Hardest Cotton. Hardest Cotton looks like he's right behind Greg Jennings at the moment as they're about to go into the final DRS straight. Actually, the second to last DRS straight. And Hardest Cotton's got to get a great exit off of the corner right there and possibly get that Mercedes to break that 1-2 of the season. So can he make the move? He's got the DRS. He's going to go to the inside line. He's got the power down. He's got the move down on the Mercedes. So well done. So Hardest Cotton's got the move, but Greg Jennings got an excellent slingshot from the back of that. Greg Jennings has no DRS, Hardest Cotton does, so I don't think there's anything that Greg Jennings can do but except save the ERS and save the fuel mixture to attack for another day, which is going to happen quite soon because the DRS is going to come at the end of this lap. Only 5 laps remain as we see Fireball and Kedwood actually making some moves, and it looks like Fireball, oh, we can't see exactly what happened. Not sure exactly what happened. The bollard, whatever that is, I think that's some sort of pillar, is blocking the way. But Fireball, not exactly sure. It looks like he made some contact with Kedwood because they both moved down the places quite a lot. And it looks like Fireball's got some damage on the front wing. So not exactly sure what happened there. Maybe something to look into. As we see Mel and Kedwood are going to be going for some overtaking. Mel eager to get ahead, and very well played by Mel. In 6th position at the moment, possibly going to go for 5th position on the Racing Point driver of Kedwood. Mel probably just getting a nice exit, probably wanted to get a great exit on that Racing Point so he can get a move for the DRS. It looks like there's some sector 2 yellow flags. It looks like Aperture going a little slow off that corner, maybe made some contact with another driver or just lost it on. Not sure exactly what happened. Let's cut back to the Mel and the Kedwood battle. Looks like Mel's is a little too far back, but can he get a nice slingshot on Kedwood down into the Wall of Champions? And it looks like he has got a great slingshot. He's actually got the DRS, and he's gone alongside Kedwood. That was an excellent move that Mel made there. He's up to 5th, the Alpha up to 5th. And it looks like there's some pitting going on right now with Ham onto the soft tires with some damage, and Fireball also, so maybe those two made some contact. And so they'll be going for the end of the race. This gives T-Bone a great chance of points. He's up to 11th position at the moment, and probably going to be fighting these drivers because Ham comes out of the pits. T-Bone's going to be ahead of him. So very interesting to see this. This will be possibly going for some points, but T-Bone 9.3 seconds to Aperture in the McLaren, but I think that McLaren does have a little bit of damage, so can T-Bone in these 4 laps remaining catch the McLaren driver? We still have that little battle going on with Mel and Kedwood as Kedwood is about to possibly get the DRS on Mel. He's got a nice exit out of the hairpin, and can he make a move on the Alfa Romeo driver? And he's got the DRS very close to him. Can he go for the inside line? And it looks like he's going to get the move because he's got the power down, and he's got the move. He covers the outside line so Mel can't make an overtake the outside. And Mel's not going to have the DRS because there's no detection point there. So Kedwood has the DRS, but actually Mel's got a great power advantage on that straight. That Ferrari engine really coming in to sync with that Alfa Romeo, but he's just a little too far back to make a move on Kedwood. So Kedwood regains that 5th position, and so Mel will be really climbing at that car's power to get back at Kedwood and overtake him. Also, Skilly on the soft tires is closing in on them. So Skilly did make a late pit stop, and he's down to 7th, but he's probably going to be climbing up positions. Skilly also starts from back. Oh, and actually, he's made some contact with the barrier as we talk about him. Looks like, I'm not exactly sure, we saw some front end plate of his car come off onto that corner. Not exactly sure what happened there, but he's down to 7th position. I mean, he kind of stayed in that position, so no losing positions, but hopefully he can recover from that. The front end plate is gone from his car. Hopefully he can stick the car in and hopefully not make another pit stop and close in on Mel and Kev. Speaking of Mel and Kevwood, Mel's got the DRS on Kevwood, just a little too far back to make the move. Can he do what he did on the previous lap and get a better exit off of that corner? And it looks like he kind of does. Different position than the last lap, but Mel, can he go for the inside line on Kevwood? And he's going to go for the move in. Actually, he's got the move in. As we see Skilly, he's into the pits. Looks like he had some damage to the front wing. I'm not sure what he can do to get back into this fight for the top points. I mean, he's down to 12th now because T-Bone's up to 10th. So T-Bone is up to 10th, and he's got well, I tell you, he's in the points again. But he's got Ham in the Renault, who's only got 2-lap-old soft tires, is closing in on him as we see Sesko retire from this Grand Prix. Not exactly sure what happened. Looks like he actually hit the wall of champions. So I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but he is out of this race. So very unfortunate to see that. That can happen, as we did see, as I did explain in 1999 with the Wall of Champions. Schumacher, Hill, and Villeneuve all hitting that wall in the same race. I'm not exactly sure who won that race, though. I'll have to look that up. I'm not extremely good with history on that much. But we'll just have to wait and see. While we go on to winning the Grand Prix, the most wins here is Hamilton and Schumacher, both tied for 7, with Ferrari claiming that top spot with 14 wins here at this circuit. I think it's actually just the Canadian Grand Prix in all time, but Ferrari's got 14 wins. So the Scuderia Maranello Italian team has got the most wins out of any team here. So very impressive from the Ferrari team. So just wanted to quickly mention that real quick. A little history about the Canadian Grand Prix. The circuit is located in Montreal on, I think, an island, which is very interesting to see. As you can see a little bit of lake coming into parts of the track. So on track, we have Intent, who has led this Grand Prix from the start. Looks like the McLaren going into the barrier there. I wasn't sure if he was going to ram into Intent or not, but Intent has kept that position. I mean, he's done phenomenal all weekend. I mean, he's gotten pole position. He led this entire race, and he starts the final lap with the first place. Hopefully there's no early flags, as Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Räikkönen both said that. I think Sebastian said that in 2019 when he had the penalty. He was talking about that, and in 2017 when Räikkönen and Vettel were teammates back then, they did talk about that the flags were waving early. Flags are not waving early this time. His Intent rounds the final few corners to grab the win here with Mercedes AMG Petronas Motorsport F1 team. Long name, I know, but it is the name that they have. And as he finally wraps up this Grand Prix, 2 corners left. As he rounds this, he's going to possibly weave back and forth as he claims the win at the Canadian Grand Prix. Mercedes win once again. So phenomenal performance from Intent, Hardest Cotton, and Greg Jennings. Looks like they're going to be finishing out the top 3. So that's your podium right there. I'm not sure if Greg Jennings got a penalty. He did actually get a penalty. That promotes Relish in the Toro Rosso, the 3rd. So phenomenal performance. Dunk Daddy, it looks like he's going to possibly finish ahead of Solak. There was a little bit moving there. Mel and Kevwood. Looks like Mel finished ahead of Kevwood. It looks like Kevwood actually had a penalty. So he actually finished behind, but he did get that position. So well done to Mel. So the rest of the grid follows up as T-Bone up to 12th. Looks like he was in the points, but he weaves back and forth as he hits the wall quite a lot. He's actually out of the Grand Prix, so not exactly on the final lap of this Grand Prix. I was just doing a commentary race with Fabregas 115 when we were just talking about at the Australian... Oh, no, it actually wasn't Fabregas. It was Jadaway. And we were just talking about how Jenson Button retired at the final lap of that Grand Prix right in front of the finish flag. But anyways, this is the Grand Prix, not the Australian Grand Prix. As we see the podium, as Intent wins for Mercedes, Hardest Cotton in second position, and Relish in third for Toro Rosso. It's the champagne sprays for the team here. It's a phenomenal win for the Mercedes team and for Intent. As we move on to more races, I'm not exactly sure who's leading the championship, but Intent is definitely going to get some good points from this race. And also, if you have any drivers that did incredibly well this race, please vote in the comments below or on the chat of this league who you think did a phenomenal job. I honestly think Mel, he's got my driver of the day, 17th on the grid to 5th. So very impressive stuff from him. He's got my driver of the day, but it's up to you. Please vote in the driver of the day. If you did like this video, please like it below. Really helps me out. Subscribe to the channel. Really, that does help me out. And thank you so much for watching this commentary of the Canadian Grand Prix. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye. Thank you so much.